Many years ago, when I was in America studying Native American Indians, I came across the whole concept of the way of the warrior. And the way of the warrior was the concept that I picked up and was interesting, was that we stopped all inner thoughts and we just live for the present. And the concept was that we, every moment of our lives, we should be living as though we face death. And death was our enemy. And death could come in many disguises, in many forms. And so we needed to protect ourselves. And the only way to do that was by being totally conscious and aware of our surroundings. And for a few years, I lived in that realm. And but there lacked certain aspects of reality in that, and I then began to think more clearly about what it is that I should be doing. And one of the things that I became aware of was how to reason, how to think, and we're not really taught how to think properly. That doesn't just occur. I mean, some people think deeply, a lot of people don't. And people that I deal with come to me quite often and saying, well, it's so difficult to think of things because I am bombarded, I'm anxious about so many things, and life just tumbles into my brain and everything appears as one whole, and I can't separate things, and so I live in a constant state of anxiety. So one of the first things that then we must learn to do in reasoning is that we need to compartmentalize. We need to be able to put things in our minds in boxes so that we can separate everything. And once we separate them into the boxes, we can then draw them out into priorities and then deal with the priority at the moment. And then the others go on to the back burner. Now, once we have got an issue or something that we need then to give time to reflect on that issue in our mind. So it's an answer and question that go on into our minds. What should I do? If I do this, what would happen? Why is this so important? How does that impact on other people? What would happen if I don't do it? What happens if I do it? And so on. And we work it through. What do other people think? What knowledge do I need to be able for me to resolve this problem? Can I find someone who can help me resolve this problem and work through this? And so on. And it's this quiet reflection that every human being should have every day to reflect, take something from the box, from one of the boxes, and then begin to explore it and to try and work towards some sort of conclusion. Now, some things there are no conclusions for. Some things are so complicated and then we just don't have the resources or knowledge to be able to do that, and we should be able to put that in the box. And normally I don't waste time on things I cannot resolve. So people talk to me about hunger in the world. I cannot resolve hunger in the world. That's beyond my capability. I cannot resolve domestic violence. I cannot resolve war. I cannot resolve greed. I cannot resolve power and status and dictatorships. I cannot resolve many of these dreadful things that go on in the world. I mean, I can contribute to them, and I can write articles. I can discuss them and talk to people about them. I can do minute things, but there isn't something that I personally can, if I put all my effort into, would I make any difference? So I don't worry about them. I can't be worried about them. I think about them. And of course, I would like to eradicate a lot of these negative things that happen within our societies and in the world. But if I can't do anything about it, it's not for me to worry. I only handle things and resolve things that are within my capability and within my power. And that provides, for me, stability and happiness, because I am always constantly moving forward and in some ways contributing to the well-being of the world. But if I'm forever running around and worrying about the homeless, then that doesn't work. I mean, whatever we think we can do, we have to be very careful. For instance, I had a friend of mine who she sold up her house, she sold up everything she had, and she had this huge amount of money, and then she went around the streets giving it to the homeless. And of course, amongst the homeless were people who were addicts in alcoholic, drugs, or mentally ill, whatever, and of course it didn't benefit them, it didn't help them. What happened was she gave them money and they spent it, and then one day she found out that she was poor. And that didn't help her, and for all the good deeds that she had intended, which were laudable, the outcomes were really quite negative. And for me, you should be doing things that help people, that you can see that can help people on a level which actually you can achieve. Because to give and not achieve is a waste of energy, and it's destructive to the self. The self needs to feel good that what they have done is a real achievement. It's not something that is negative. And so to understand before we take action on anything, it's very important that we reason and work it through. Why are we doing this? What is the point of that? How will it impact others? Is there something else that is better than that? And not to get anxious that the whole world is falling apart, which it isn't, but to make contributions, positive contributions, however small, is what is important to the benefit of humans and benefit of the individual. And the selfless giving is not for me at all. Just giving. What there has to be is benefit. I mean, it's no good being a Mother Teresa and going and helping the poor, and then say no, I don't believe in contraception, and therefore there's a HIV epidemic going on, but I disagree with condoms being given, so condoms are stopped, which could stop the infection and then other people contracting the disease and dying. So we should look very carefully about our own actions and what we do and the impact of them before we plunge wildly into some sort of action, and which I feel so many people do. And so small time to ourselves and taking different issues or actions that we want to do and doing them slowly and working them through. And we can look at the impact. What happens, it increases our own consciousness, not only of ourselves, but the world around us. And perhaps in schools and establishments we should be teaching people to think like that, instead of just filling their head with useless knowledge, most of which is never used or is forgotten. But real experiences that we actually become involved with is so much more important.